Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Lair of the Phoenix. Yes, that's right, thank you. As you might know if you tuned into this show last month, for the month of January, we took a look at the 3 films in the Night at the Museum series. Well, in the final review of that, our own Pew Pew made a comment. Made a comment comparing the ancient Egyptian pharaoh scene in that film to the ancient Egyptian pharaoh scene in the film, or otherwise, at least the ancient Egyptian scene in the Mummy series of films, the recent series starring Brendan Frasier. So this month we're reviewing that. We're going to start with the first film, then we'll do the second film, and we will inevitably get to the shitty third film. And stick around for the third around the pound of the month, where we're also going to take a quick break to discuss the animated series amongst other animated series based on films in one of our Around the Pounds, where the topic is cartoon series made from films. So stay tuned for that. But today we're going to focus on the original Brendan Frasier Mummy film from 1999. Joining me, as you heard over there, is Pew Pew, a.k.a. Anastasia Lazerbeam.
It's gone.
It's gone. And also joining us for in place of Chris the Mole this time, we have the far inferior Marcus Shadow.
Hey, I'm the movie guy.
I didn't say you weren't the movie guy, I said you were inferior to Mole.
Well, fuck you. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Oh, thank God, I don't have to listen to him the whole time. Oh, he's still here, damn. Oh, well. Moving along. We're going to do the basic premise that I use for this. We're basically going to run through the plot real quick. We'll discuss the plot, and we'll discuss the characters and actors portraying them, and then we'll give some final scores at the end.
Haha, he said real quick, you see what he did there? It's ironic, because he doesn't know the definition of said word.
Haha. All right. So, the film opens in ancient Thebes, Egypt, where we see the high priest Imhotep having an affair with the pharaoh's mistress, Anaxaramon. They get busted, and Imhotep flees, while Anaxaramon commits suicide so that she will not be punished, with the intent that Imhotep can use the ancient Egyptian magics to resurrect her later. He attempts to do so, but they get interrupted, and instead Imhotep gets arrested, and he gets basically mummified alive and placed under a curse. The Hamdai curse, which basically says that he's mummified alive with flesh-eating scarab beetles, but that if he should ever be awakened, he will have immense power and all humanity would be doomed, basically. And the group of warriors, the Pharaoh's personal warriors, known as the Magi, sort of like the Pharaoh's secret service, are assigned to watch over Imhotep's tomb forevermore to ensure that he is never awakened. Now, I'm going to pause the plot for a moment here to make an interesting point here. So, you want to punish a guy whom you generally know is kind of a dick. He already hates you. You just give him an excuse to hate you more because you mummified him alive. And you specifically bury him in a location where one can easily also locate a book that can resurrect him and bring about said curse that will doom humanity. Anyone else think the cons outweigh the pros of this punishment here?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
But Egypt, so
Also,
yeah.
Also, the other thing I have to say that the guy's a fucking moron for doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he also plays with him, said book that can resurrect him. Said book can also resurrect, the wife that cheated on you.
That too.
So you're trying to banish him so he'll never be with the woman he loves, and then gives him the means to be with the woman he loves. Yeah, you're fucking terrible at this punishment thing, Pharaoh.
Yeah, pretty much. It should be, of course, this film, of course, stars Brendan Frasier and Rachel Weisz in the lead roles. It should be mentioned that the film was produced by Sean Daniel and James Jacks and is directed by Steven Sommers, whom you may remember from such other films as Disney's version of The Jungle Book, the 2004 Van Helsing film, and G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra.
Right. It's pronounced Rachel Weisz, by the way.
Is it pronounced Vice? Okay.
It's W as a V. I think she's like German or European descent there. So
I was unaware that she was German. Fair enough. That'll work.
I
Moving
don't think
along.
she's German, but some European.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So he's buried under the statue of Anubis. They're set to watch over him. Well, jump to 3,000 years later in the year 1923. And there's a French Foreign Legion battle with some nomads occurs at the city of Habanoptera, where Imhotep is buried. Basically, everybody gets killed except for a Hungarian thief named Benny and his American friend and soldier Rick O'Connell, played by Brendan Frasier. Um, basically, the nomads that they're fighting flee when they hear sinister whispers, and Rick quickly follows them when the ground appears to come to life. And watching from afar, the Magi, who are keeping an eye on this as they were tasked 3,000 years ago, decide to let O'Connell die in the desert instead of, intentionally going down and murdering the dude that obviously knows the location of the curse that could wipe out all humanity. 3 years after that, because time skips, we see Jonathan Carnahan, the greatest character in the movie, present his sister Evelyn, played by Rachel Weisz. I should probably take a moment to mention Jonathan Carnahan is played by John Hannah, by the way. And presents him with an intricate box and a map that he says he found in Thebes, but it turns out he actually stole it from Rick O'Connell, who was about to be sentenced to death because he stole some shit. And basically he's going to be executed, but when Rick tells her that he knows the location of Habanoptera, which she's eager to go to because she's both a librarian in Cairo and an aspiring Egyptologist. She loves this shit and would love to find the ancient city of Habanoptera that nobody's really been able to find. So she agrees to take some treasure, and basically that when they find the treasure, they will give some to the head of the prison and use it as a bribe to get Rick out of jail. They proceed on a journey to Habanoptera, where Rick leads Evelyn, Jonathan, and the warden of the prison to the city, where they encounter American treasure hunters who are being led by the famed British Egyptologist Dr. Alan Chamberlain, who is played by Jonathan Hyde wonderfully, I might add. Jonathan Hyde is an awesome actor, and I like him. You may also know him as Cadbury, Richard's butler, in that semi-terrible Macaulay Culkin Richie Rich movie, as Dr. J. Bruce Ismay in the hit film Titanic. He was in the terrible movie Anaconda, and of course as Robin Williams' father in Jumanji, to name a few. Moving along. They determine that the group of treasure hunters being led by Dr. Chamberlain is being guided by Benny, who O'Connell is less than pleased to discover alive. When they get to Habanoptera, the warden gets killed, and they are then attacked by the Magi, trying to dissuade them from going back to Habanoptera. They are led by the awesome warrior Ardith Bey, portrayed by Oded Fehr, who is also an awesome actor. Again, we're going to get to the actors and the characters in a minute. Ardith warns them of the evil, but they keep going anyway because they're stupid. Evelyn searches for the Book of Amun-Ra, a solid gold book reportedly capable of taking life away, aka what's the term I'm looking for here? MacGuffin number 1. So instead of finding the book, though, they find the remains of Imhotep. Meanwhile, the Americans find a chest with ancient engravings that decipher saying any and all who open the box are cursed if Imhotep is awakened. But of course, they don't give a shit. When Benny is freaked out by this and runs away, the rest of them open it and find the Black Book of the Dead, accompanied by the canopic jars containing the remains of Anaximandron. They steal the Book of the Dead, and each of the guys pockets a jar and runs away. So at night, Evelyn takes the Book of the Dead, and she reads a page of it aloud, awakening Imhotep. Proving wrong the fallacy that Evelyn states any point that one harm ever came from reading a book, well, clearly. And that becomes an unfortunate running joke throughout the course of the franchise, which is funny to some extent, but kind of gets old. So basically, Imhotep gets free, and he manages to recruit Benny to work for him because Benny happens to speak a number of languages, one of which being Hebrew, which Imhotep recognizes as the language of the slaves, and he employs Benny as a translator and basically servant, and offers not to kill him in exchange for working for him. Meanwhile, one of the Americans gets his tongue and eyes ripped out by Emotep because he didn't have those buried with him, so he takes this guy's. The Magi proceed to rescue the rest of the team and basically say, you've unleashed the ancient world, now we're obligated to stop him because you fucked it up and we have to fix it. Seeking a way to stop them, they meet Artist at a museum, and where Evelyn reveals that Emotep referred to her as a Noxunamon and Hamanoptera, thinking she was her. They basically theorize that he wants to resurrect his lover and will do so by sacrificing Evelyn to use her life force or whatever. Sorry about that. So they proceed to go into a series of action scenes where they run from Emotep using increasingly gained powers to manipulate elements around him or just do generally freaky horror movie shit. AKA excuses to show off 1990 special effects. To chase them all around Egypt as they attempt to deduce the location of the other book, the Book of the Dead, or I should say the Book of Life, that they found, which is the Book of Amun-Ra, and that they can use this to basically kill him again, since if the Book of the Dead gives life, the Book of Life takes life away. The cruelest of ironies. So, Emotep corners them with slaves, and Evelyn agrees to go with Emotep to spare the lives of the rest of the group, so he takes her to sacrifice her. But Rick finds an entrance to the sewers, and they all escape as their ally, the museum curator, holds off the bad guys. The zombie mummy dudes. They return to Hamanoptera, with Rick, Jonathan, and Ardith in pursuit of Emotep, Evelyn, and Benny. Emotep awakens an Noxunamon and prepares to sacrifice Evelyn, but she gets rescued, and there's an intense battle with Emotep's priests. Jonathan manages to read from the Book of Amun-Ra, awakening mummified warriors who then kill an Noxunamon, and Evelyn manages to read the book and make Emotep mortal again, so Rick can stab him with a gold sword. And force him into the River of Death, where he decays, leaving the world of the living, vowing revenge with the same words carved into his sarcophagus: death is only the beginning. And of course, while looting the treasure, Benny sets off a booby trap and he gets eaten by flesh-eating scarabs, as Hamanoptera collapses to the sand and the heroes escape, though losing the books in the process. Ardith rides away into the sunset as Rick and Evelyn finally admit they're in love. And Jonathan basically is all upset that they didn't get anything good out of this, only to realize for the camera to pan to point out they're riding away in the camels loaded with the treasure that Benny had already looted.
Yay! Happily ever, fuck you, I have your stuff after.
Pretty much. So, opinions on the plot.
Oh, I like it.
It's not as good as the second one.
Debatable.
I like the second one better.
The second one had some better stuff. The first one I thought was more cohesive. The first one also didn't have an annoying kid put in there for no goddamn reason.
I love that kid. You shut your whore mouth. He inspired an awesome cartoon series. That kid's awesome. He's better than like half the cast. The only one who's good is frickin' guy who plays Jonathan and Frasier in there, and that's it. Everyone else
Justin,
can go.
that's all I have to say.
Who's Justin?
She knows who I'm referencing.
I don't know who that is, okay? But Frasier, Kid, Jonathan. Everybody else, extra.
Wow, way to bury the main character.
Fuck him. He's just a villain.
I was talking about Rachel Weisz.
Oh, fuck her. I'm sorry, but I like a character that's more than tits. So,
You obviously didn't see the second movie.
I did see the movie, and it's nice that she's motherly, but she's still a step down from everybody else. She's great, but there's people great to her.
She didn't see the second movie.
I did see the second movie. It's my favorite.
Now let's calm down. Let's be kind of Rachel Weisz in her character. She has more than just tits.
She's an awesome character, and she's the main character of the trilogy, which is why it pissed me off that they couldn't get her back for the third one. Yet they said we're going to use the same character. Like, no, fuck off. It's got to be her.
I know, but I feel like she kind of. I feel like she kind of acted like tits too much, but you know.
She's more than just tits. She's also ass.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I wish they used her more, and I don't know. I wish it was better, but you know.
I think she got.
I know she personally could have been, better, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I think Rachel Weisz is a great actor. I thought it was a good character, but anyway.
I mean, she is, but
Fair enough.
I don't feel like she was properly used.
Okay, let's segue that since we're obviously going into more of the characters in the plot. Let's talk about the characters a little bit here. Of course, our main character is a heroic former soldier turned Indiana Jones style adventurer, Rick O'Connell, played by Brendan Frasier. Opinions on Rick O'Connell?
He's kind of your stereotypical action hero / Leon Kennedy ripoff from Resident Evil / Indiana Jones ripoff / like I said, stereotypical action hero. So any of them. But he's played well. I like Brendan Fraser. I think he's a good actor when he's given a good role to play, and this was a good role for him to play.
When he's especially not doing other movies on the side, and he's just focusing on one movie. Mummy 3.
Yeah. But no, I like the character, and I like the arc of the character in this movie. You know, going from this basically like a cross between Indiana Jones and Han Solo, where he's this like archaeologist adventurer type, but he just doesn't give a shit. He's a ruffian, you know, or as Princess Leia would say, he's a scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Hey, that's their word. You can't use that.
But yeah, he's basically the rough around the edges, you know, macho. You know, I'm gonna flex my muscles and women are gonna swoon over me. You know, archaeologist, action hero type character, but he evolves from that, especially after he meets Evie, as we mentioned, played by Rachel Weisz, who also does a fantastic job. And I love his arc. I just love that he does evolve, and they actually develop the character instead of like a big guy with muscles and big gun, boom, done, go. It's like, no, we're actually going to flesh him out, we're going to humanize him, and we're going to make him a character. So I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to point out that he is not in any way an archaeologist. The only reason he's on this trip is because he happened to end up in a battle in the ancient city that they stumbled across. He is not by any means an archaeologist.
Okay, well, I thought he was like, you know, interested in that kind of stuff, which is why he was there, but okay.
He's just interested in getting rich.
Oh, fair enough.
He didn't want to go in the first place. He only agreed to go because A, he wants to bang Evie, and B, because he figured maybe he could get some treasure out of it. That's the only reason he agreed to go on this, and because doing that was the only way to not get hanged.
This is true.
So he had certainly ulterior motives. In fact, if it were not for those reasons, he wanted to stay as far away from that conversation place as possible.
Mm. Also, with that outfit that they gave him, am I not the only one who thinks he might have been the precursor to Nathan Drake?
That is possible.
I kind of like Nathan Drake more than I like Brendan Fraser, so
fair enough.
Nathan Drake wears it better.
True, but Nathan Drake doesn't hang out with Looney Tunes.
This is also true.
Whether that's a bad thing or a good thing is your own opinion. Nathan Drake also doesn't play his own stunt double. That was pretty awesome. But that's another movie for another review. Moving along, since we got into a little bit about this, we of course have the lovely Evelyn Carnahan, played by the lovely Rachel Weisz, as a clumsy yet intelligent Egyptologist who destroys a library, which pissed me off a little bit, but who is generally well-meaning and wants to go to Hamunaptra to find cool Egypt stuff.
Hashtag cool Egypt stuff, because that's what it's called. Not like artifacts or research or no. I want to find gold shit. Cool Egypt stuff. Yeah. Don't you know I clearly got my master's degree in Egyptology?
No, she's an aspiring Egyptologist. She was not an actually degree Egyptologist.
I'm aspiring skydiving underwater welding person. Doesn't mean I know jack shit about it, but sure.
I'm pretty sure welding underwater violates the laws of physics.
There are underwater welders for sure. That's a real job that actually makes like several hundreds of $1,000s a year.
Well, apparently they suck at it, because if the underwater welders knew how to underwater weld properly, the BP incident wouldn't have happened.
Oh, hey, they can't help you if you fucking ruin all their work by crashing the fuck into it. I mean, you can patch it as much as you want, but if you keep fucking tearing it back up with a giant-ass drill, there's not really much you can do to keep it out. I mean, they could put a giant sign, do not drill here, I guess, popping out of the ocean, but, you know.
Fair enough. Anywho.
That'd be fucking funny.
But yeah, Rachel Weisz, while she's very attractive, I think at the beginning of the franchise, her character kind of started out as kind of a dit, and was just kind of there to be the love interest and to be the reason why they were going to the city in the first place. But I feel like over the course of the franchise, as we'll get to, her character did evolve more, particularly in the second movie. And she became rather important. In the third movie, she kind of took a shit at the back seat because we don't have the fucking actress. But, well, again, we'll get to that too. But overall, I think Rachel Weisz did a good job with the character, given what she was given in the script. So I'd say it worked out pretty well. And she is very attractive.
I agree. I liked her character in this one. Yeah, I agree with you. In the beginning, her character was kind of bland, but they were developing her. But I always felt that from the outset, they made her character one of the most important, if not the most important character in the entire franchise, aside from, of course, Imhotep. Because she's basically the reincarnation of, I can't say the name, but the reincarnation of Imhotep's woman.
Yes. Wait, what?
I was gonna say wifey.
No, they never got married.
Hang on a second. What are you? Hang on. Hang on. What are you talking about there?
Oh no, she was the resurrection of like the rival of his.
No, her spirit was being used to resurrect Anastasia in the first film, but it was revealed in the second film that she herself was actually the resurrected. Yeah, Nefertiti. Get it right.
Yeah. I thought they used the R, but fair enough.
No, Nefertiti.
Fair enough. But yeah, the fact that when Imhotep first comes out and sees her, he mistakes her for however you say the name.
Anastasia.
Yes, I can't say that name, so I'm going to say Anak
Sunamon.
Anaxunamon.
There you go.
Okay, but yeah, the fact that he mistakes her for Anaxunamon, that it's like, okay, that establishes her right off the bat as a very important character, if not one of the most important characters in the story. Even if they don't do much with her, they allude to it throughout the story of how important she is, but they don't really do anything with that until the second movie. But they establish it in this movie, which I think is a great way to do it, because they show her fascination with Egyptology and stuff, and the reason for that is because she's a resurrected or a reincarnated
she's
Egyptian.
Drawn to it.
Well, no, she's a reincarnated Egyptian, like, I don't know, I guess if she was like royalty or whatever, but I think Nefertiti was royalty of like famous.
Yeah.
I don't know my Egypt mythology, but my Egyptology.
I think because she was resurrected, that kind of like, I don't know, something inside her would almost initiate her, like an inspiration to learn more about it.
Yeah, well, if anybody's ever read anything or seen anything about people who believe in reincarnation, when you're reincarnated, ties to your past lives, to who you quote really are, unquote, will come through, and that will kind of drive what your interests and ambitions are in your current life, even if you yourself don't realize it. And I think that's what they were going for with Evie, with the fact that she's this reincarnated Egyptian like warrior queen or whatever. And so that's why she's drawn to the Egyptology. That's why she wants to learn the history of Egyptology, because it's more like the spirit within her wants her to discover her like actual true past.
Which is fair enough, but that's going to come up really in the second movie. We'll save that for the next review.
Yeah, I'm just saying they establish a lot of that in this one, even though they don't outright say it, which I think is good. They do it subtly, but not so subtle that you don't notice it.
I'm not sure they outright intended that. I don't think they had the second one planned at the time they made the first.
Fair enough.
What do you think, Pew?
I don't know. I don't really resonate with the first film, and I don't know. It doesn't give me. I don't know. The first film is what do you call it? Dr. Pepper, and the second one is Coca-Cola. Mm-hmm. This one's kind of just you're getting started. You kind of got me interested. But here, everything just seems so like.
Bunker?
What?
I said it turned you into Edith Bunker?
What?
Ah, never mind. Jesus. Learn pop culture.
I hate pop culture. You know what? Hey, have fun with your hashtags and selfies, hipster.
Apparently you don't even know the definition of pop culture. But anyway, moving along.
I'm just saying, like, you know all the things that are, like, now and stuff, but it's not really important.
That is a reference to a television show from 40 years ago. That is not now.
Whatever, okay, how the fuck am I supposed to know what a thing from 40 years ago?
It's called knowing things that are relevant to our culture as a society. But anyway.
Oh my god, says the librarian.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even Mole would tell you that you should know that reference. But anyway.
Okay, whatever.
Moving along, we also have John Hannah as Jonathan Carnahan, Evelyn's brother, who is a bit of a bumbler, and he's along on this journey specifically because Evelyn informs him that Hymenoptera is where the pharaohs supposedly hid the, quote, wealth of Egypt, end quote, and he wants to get rich.
He kind of carries this film, besides Brendan Frasier, and makes it fun.
Pretty much.
Because otherwise this would be super boring.
Yeah.
And it would be like, I don't know, he's like one of the saving graces of this film. It's like, yeah, I'm actually invested. There's a character I like. It's not like, ooh, look at me. I a pretty boy. I have a romance. Okay, fine, whatever. And then it's like, yeah, cool dude. He's a funny guy. Yeah, I'm interested. I just feel like, I don't know. He's really needed here. Like there wouldn't be this film without him.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Marcus?
I like that character. We're talking about the
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Yeah, he's awesome. He's the comic relief which you need in a movie like this. I mean, there's comedy or comedic situations to be had with the rest of the characters, but he's there for just the out and out comedy, you know. And I like that, and I like that they put a character in there for that specific purpose, and he plays it well. And he is by far the best character of the entire franchise, my opinion, hands down.
Agreed.
He's the only reason. He's the only reason he even get through the third movie.
Not even. Oh my god, you can't get through the third movie. It's like, I only got it because I tried to walk out, but there was a big crowd, and I was like, oh my god, I might as well wait.
Yeah. Now, I think him being the best character in the franchise is what killed the franchise, personally.
Ouch.
And, well, that's not a knock on him. It's a knock on fucking... What's the studio that makes the movie?
Let's see. The Mummy films were put out by... let's see here. Where is this thing? Does it say? Come on. Help me out here.
I don't remember the studio who actually produced
the good people, Universal Pictures.
Universal. Wow, really? Okay, I can't believe they would make a flub this big, but fair enough. But yeah, I put it as a knock to Universal and to the writers that they let write this schlock. And that is, after the first movie, they were like, wow, people are resonating and responding to Jonathan. He's obviously the best thing in this movie. I know, let's make the other two movies focus on him more than the other characters. It's like, no, he's the best character because he has no focus. He's not the focus of the movies. He's there to fill in the gaps that are left by your main character, by the main focus of the movie. That's why the movies work, because he's the balance. When you make him the focus, you unbalance the movie.
He was never really the focus, I feel. He just had a bigger part.
Yeah, well, no, but I don't know, at least with the second movie, I haven't seen the third one yet, but with the second movie, one of the things I didn't like about that movie is it seemed like they built the movie around him more. Like, story-wise,
but he still wasn't the focus. But like,
yeah, story-wise, no, because of the whole Evie thing. But it still felt like they were giving him more screen time than he should. They were taking him out of what made him good in the first movie.
I didn't feel that.
He was still funny, and he was still an interesting character, but it's like, I liked you before you became James Bond.
He wasn't James Bond. He was hardly James Bond.
Yeah, not even close.
He was a sniper in the second movie.
No, not really.
Yeah, he was covering them from the top. That was his one claim to fame. He's not a fighter, he's a thinker, but he's also a really good shot, which is established actually in the first movie when he mentions that he's a good shot, and you actually see it in the second one when they give him a rifle and they're like, okay, we're gonna make a run for the the temple or whatever is they're running toward, cover us, and he covers them. And you're like, holy shit, he is a good shot. But the problem is, when they did that, they decided, we're going to enlarge his role. We're going to give him a bigger role and give him more time and focus the story a little bit more around him. And I'm like, but you're taking away what made him special. You're taking away why he worked in the first movie.
No, I don't feel like that.
That's why I like the first movie, because it's a good balance.
Yeah, I feel like he's less James Bond and more Johnny English.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Which
is, and it's like, okay, it's cool to see him do action and stuff, but focus the movie where it needs to be focused. You have the story focus right, but you don't have the visual focus right, because the visual focus is more him than anything else. And it felt like they were trying to shoehorn in more situations to showcase Jonathan, when it wasn't necessary. And I'm like, just no.
It wasn't necessary, but it was appreciated.
Yeah, which I will say I think was ironically the one thing that they did get right in the third movie is they had just the right amount of Jonathan to be entertaining, not quite enough to save the movie, but enough to be entertaining and to keep you wanting to see his scenes.
Because he's one of the reasons I love the second movie.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, John Hannah, great in that role as Jonathan. Unfortunately, that's the only role I've ever personally seen him in. Although obviously he's been in quite a few other things, so I do feel bad about that. But do check him out in other awesome stuff that he's in, including but not limited to Four Weddings and a Funeral, alongside Gwyneth Paltrow in Sliding Doors, in McCallum, Cold Blood, New York, New Street Law. Playing D.I. John Rebus in Rebus, Jack Cloth in A Touch of Cloth, Quintus Lentulus Batiatus in Spartacus, and in the BBC series Atlantis. So check him out and all that shit. Moving along. Let us move on to the true star of the film. Let's be honest here. The reason everybody went and saw this movie wasn't for any of them. It was for one guy, and that's Arnold Vosloo as the High Priest Emotep.
I was gonna say, you didn't want to finish off the good guys first.
I'm going in order, in my opinion, order of importance, sort of. I've had to do the three main characters, then I'll go back to all the side characters.
Fair enough, but yes, Arnold Vosloo
as High Priest Emotep.
Indeed.
Which is interesting here because there's a note that, number one, Arnold Vosloo is South African, if you don't know. And he understood the approach Summers was going for in this screenplay. It was supposed to be a more lighthearted take on The Mummy. Not really a straight-up horror version, but almost more of a comic book, over-the-top type version. And you'll know that Vosloo is the one character who does not subscribe to any of the over-the-top comedy shticky bullshit in any of the films, or at least the two that he's in. And the reason for that is because Vosloo only agreed to take on the role of Emotep, quote, if I could do it absolutely straight. From Emotep's point of view, this is a skewed version of Romeo and Juliet, end quote. Which I think is kind of cool. That he had that interesting of a take on the character.
Also, for those who wonder who Arnold Vosloo is, maybe those of you who haven't actually seen the Mummy movies, you may also recognize him as Zartan from the G.I. Joe movies.
G.I. Joe.
Indeed, and for those of you who might not recognize him from that, if you're a fan of rather interesting, kind of dark turned other Universal Picture movies from the past, which are to some extent or another are a monster movie, but also tied into DC Comics. You may also remember him as Darkman from the Darkman trilogy of films.
Really? He was Darkman?
He was Darkman.
Wow. Yeah, he was fantastic as Zartan. He was one of the highlights of those films. Even though he technically wasn't in the second one. 20th Century Fox. But yeah.
Technically speaking, neither was Cobra Commander.
No, because 20th Century Fox blew their wad of money on, casting a black guy as the Human Torch.
Racist.
Basically.
Oh, but seriously, how do you not bring back your main villains? But that's for another discussion.
Yeah, we'll cover that film series later. Moving along.
But yeah, he's great in The Mummy. He's great as Emotep. Emotep.
And speaking of people that 20th Century Fox blew their money on, and ended up being in the G.I. Joe film instead of Arnold Vosloo. And the cruelest of ironies, Arnold Vosloo in the Superman Shazam crossover animated film, he voiced Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Irony.
You want to know even more cruel irony?
What's that?
Who replaced Arnold Vosloo as basically one of the main villains of The Mummy? The big breakout star.
They worked side by side in that film, though. They were
but then he went and got his own film, and Arnold Vosloo got shafted because Jet Li in the next movie. So basically, after The Rock came in, Emotep was no more. Yeah, so guess who they blew their wad of money on for fucking G.I. Joe Retaliation, so they couldn't pay Arnold Vosloo to, reprise his role.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think more along the lines by the time the third film came out, Vosloo probably realized this is going to be a piece of shit. I'm not putting my name on this movie.
That too.
I cannot blame him for that, because quite frankly, Brendan Frasier probably wanted to put his name on that movie, but the dude probably needed a paycheck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his Looney Tunes career did not take off. But again, that's for another review.
But yeah, Arnold Vosloo, man, he completely ate this part up, and he obviously knew the character. I mean, obviously, when he turned around and said, I want to play it straight because Emotep is this, obviously he studied the character, and it shows in the way he portrays the character in the movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he obviously studied the previous portrayals of the character, as seen by the great Boris Karloff.
Right.
But anyway, moving along. So, Emotep, of course, is a great special effects used to display his powers. He plays it straight, he plays it evil. But also, there's almost, particularly when we get to the second movie, there's almost a sympathetic part to him, which is kind of cool the way they turn that character around. So, moving on to some side characters that are relevant in the film, we, of course, have Kevin J. O'Connor as Benny Gabor, a former soldier of the French Legion who is a coward and a thief, and becomes the servant of Emotep after Emotep realizes that he speaks the language of the slaves, a.k.a. Hebrew. Kevin O'Connor frequently appears in Steven Sommers' films, being a friend of him and a favorite, and he has appeared in such of his films including There Will Be Blood, Clive Barker's Lord of Illusions, FX2, and Van Helsing, in minor roles.
Nice.
Indeed.
Woo!
But interestingly, as you might not interestingly, as a relevant note here, Kevin O'Connor also happens to appear in G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra as Dr. Mindbender.
Nice. You mean the actual Dr. Mindbender?
As opposed to the... I'm sorry, my knowledge of G.I. Joe lore is a bit limited. I never watched a cartoon show that much.
Me neither.
No, I'm talking about... Because in the movie... Okay, but the twist of the movie in G.I. Joe, spoiler alert...
Oh, right, because yeah.
Because Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Dr. Mindbender for most of the movie until it's revealed that he killed Dr. Mindbender, and he's actually Cobra Commander.
Right. Okay, so he was the guy in the previous scene. Okay, I did not recognize him. That's pretty cool. Okay, fair enough. Now I know who you're talking about. Fair enough.
Yeah, so I'm assuming he's the guy that was in the bunker with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the actual Dr. Mindbender.
That makes sense. So, he's probably a good actor. In fact, back in 1988's The Moderns, he actually played Ernest Hemingway. So that's kind of
nice.
Neat. So, yeah, Benny was a great job. He did a great job being a sleazy bad guy that you could hate and that you love to see get his comeuppance at the end of the first film, which was almost unfortunate, because it would have been fun to see him return for the second film to run around like a coward and get beat up again. I kind of miss that. But Benny was a great character. He did a good job.
It was fun watching him die.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So, moving on.
I love watching women die.
Yeah.
I have so much on my computer.
And, of course, moving on to the guy who should really be called the apparent James Bond of the Egyptian desert, we have Oded Fehr as Ardith Bey, the leader of the Magi.
I love Oded Fehr.
Fucking
He's
awesome.
such a good actor.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a great actor. He's pretty bamf.
Indeed. If you haven't seen Oded Fehr recently, you should go check him out as Carlos Oliveira in the recent Resident Evil movies, as well as Faris Alfarik in Sleeper Cell, the demon Zanku in Charmed, and portraying a Mossad agent on Covert Affairs, as well as a character on Jane by Design, and Mossad Deputy Director Ilan Bodnar on NCIS.
Oh, the foxy ladies.
No, and apparently Amal Ali Akbar in Scooby-Doo, Where's My Mummy?
Huh. Nice.
Oh. Oh. Wow, okay. Apparently also Dr. Fate in a variety of animated Justice League movies.
Mm-hmm. I also believe Oded Fehr was in the running, and I could be wrong, but I remember hearing this, that he was in the running to play Tony Stark before Robert Downey Jr. said yes.
I could see that. But yeah, he's the guy in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. He played Dr. Fate in a series of episodes. He played Equinox in a series of Batman Brave and the Bold episodes, and followed that up in Young Justice with a stint as Ra's al Ghul.
I could totally see him as Ra's al Ghul. That'd be fucking awesome. Amazing.
That would be really great.
Oh, now I want to see that. They need to fucking do that.
Mm-hmm.
Next live-action Ra's al Ghul needs to be Oded Fehr. Yeah. And he'd be at about the right age at that point in time, too.
Yep. Also, not sure if either of you have played it. You'd be more likely than me, but apparently he's also in Champions of Norath, Realms of EverQuest.
Okay, then. But yeah, Zack Snyder, you need to fucking cast this guy as Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Seriously, get on that right now.
Wow, okay.
Unfortunately, when you're done.
Well, okay, credit to Oded Fehr for being a great actor, but they can't all be winners. He was apparently also in both Deuce Bigalow movies.
Well, he needs to supplement his income somehow between the great movies.
Yeah, apparently. Fair enough. Oh, there you go. So, yes, Oded Fehr does a great job as, of course, the wonderful Ardith. Leader of the Magi, seems to appear the hell out of nowhere, has secret plans for everything, and somehow survives every goddamn thing like he's a freaking Superman, which should not be possible. Also has one of the best lines in the second film, but we'll get there. So he did a great job there. Of course, I mentioned earlier Jonathan Hyde as Dr. Alan Chamberlain. I love Jonathan Hyde. He's a great actor.
Amazing.
He's in, and the fact that he's typically in slightly less than serious movies. Like he's willing to play that stereotypical pompous British dude in movies in which they need one specifically for comedic purposes. Works well for him. He does that so well. Well, again, he could play legitimately pompous British dudes too, like in Titanic, so it works.
Mhm.
I know that I do love him as Cadbury in the Richie Rich movie, because I don't know, the Richie Rich movie is a guilty pleasure for me. It's kind of
that was him. He was Cadbury.
Yeah, you don't remember him, Cadbury? Remember in the Macaulay Culkin?
I remember Cadbury. I just didn't associate him with the same person, with the same actor.
Yeah, that's.
Oh fuck! I have to watch Richie Rich again now, because I loved Cadbury. Was my favorite person. I couldn't know why, and now I know, because I'm like, Cadbury, you're fucking amazing. I wish I had not even a butler, but just a dude like you.
He's Cadbury. He's Jay Bruce's man in Titanic. He's Robin Williams' father in. Well,
see, now you have 10 more reasons to watch this movie.
And he plays a cool British doctor guy who gets killed because he's an arrogant asshole. So, in The Mummy, as we're talking about. So, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's fine. But, yeah, he's awesome. And I just got to say, he has the best line in Richie Rich where he just, like, is like, Richard, but I do, and I give Richie full of proxy power and authority. And it's like, oh, shit. That's awesome. So, go check him out in awesome shit that he has appeared in. If you're looking for something recent, he was in the 2014 TV series The Strain as Eldridge Palmer. And before that, in 2011, he was in Spooks Series 10. So he has not done a whole lot recently, but he's done some decent stuff. Well, that's really all the relevant characters. I suppose it is relevant to mention Patricia Velasquez as a Noxunamon. I'm not sure if she recurred. Let me see. Did she recur the role in the second film? Because that would make her slightly more relevant. Let me check the filmography. Yes, she did recur the role in the second film. So, Patricia Velasquez establishing herself as an Noxunamon in this film to become far more relevant in the second film. Did a great job with the little time that she had, kind of establishing that this is a badass woman who's clearly the one more of a threat and more in control than Imhotep is, because Imhotep is a slave to his emotions and his anger that tends to get out of control, whereas she's more calm and calculating. So did a good job setting that up as a threat for later.
Woo!
Random. Okay.
I was saying yay for her, acting.
Okay then.
Gosh, we don't appreciate people.
You said woo like you were saying woo because you were obligated to say something, not like you gave a shit about the character, which felt even more demeaning.
No.
Wow, good comeback.
Continue, Sir Librarian.
Marcus, weigh in some opinions on these last two characters I mentioned.
See, at least I care. He doesn't even give a shit.
Clearly.
I like her. I still can't say the name properly, but Anastasia.
Yep, close enough.
I like her, and she did a great job, and the fact that they actually managed to get her back, I was like, yes. But yeah, she does a really, really good job. The character is actually pretty interesting and pretty fleshed out, so kudos to that. And I don't remember the other character, to be honest with you, the British dude, so can't really say much about him.
Yeah, you remember the British. He's the one leading the other expedition. He's the one that Benny is leading with the group. He's the head of the group Benny's leading to go to the tomb.
Oh, okay, him. Yeah.
He's one of the British. He's the one that steals the Book of the Dead from the crypt, while the other guys each take a jar, and they all end up getting hunted down by Imhotep one at a time and getting killed.
Right. That's fair enough. Yeah, I don't remember him that much. He wasn't really that memorable of a character to me, but yeah, now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Noxunamon is awesome, and the actress did a really, really good job. They cast well for that one.
Totally. So yeah, overall, great casting in this movie. I think it worked really well. I think the script had some weak points here and there, but overall, I think it was a really good movie and a great start to this particular franchise. And it did get nominated for quite a few awards, including getting nominated for one Academy Award for Best Sound Mixing. But overall, great film. And even inspired a ride, the Revenge of the Mummy ride at Universal Studios Hollywood. And it spun off a whole lot of really shitty Scorpion King films that are being made to this day.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's have some final opinions on the film as a whole. What do you folks think?
I like this film. I really do. Honestly, I think it's the best of the three, although I haven't seen the third one, but I've heard enough of the third one to hear how bad it is that I could probably safely say this is the best of the three. But of the two that I've seen, it is my favorite. So, yep, it hits all the marks for me.
This one sets the scenery, it lights the lights, but the Muppet Show does not go on tonight.
Wow. Okay, then.
That's a really good analogy.
I just feel like this one made me pumped for the second one, which I really liked. And this one had everything, all the characters, you established them, you have a reason to care, and now in the second one, you actually do. Haha. Not that I didn't care for characters here, but I didn't feel it as much, and there wasn't as much, I don't know, I'm not going to say enthusiasm. Okay, there wasn't as much enthusiasm, but
You just said you weren't going to say that.
I said I wasn't going to say it, but then I decided against it. I'm going to say it. Full out.
Hypocrite.
Yeah, I am. Everybody is, though. So anyway, the thing is, this one it's good. It's a reason to watch the second one and not the third one, and it's entertaining. It's interesting. It's just like if the second one was an A, and I'm not saying it's an A. This one would be a B.
Fair
I'm
enough.
not saying it is. I'm just trying to give you a scale. I'm not saying that either of those are that. Like by itself, like as a film, if we're doing numbers, is that what we're doing now?
You can. It's optional.
Okay, because I wasn't know if we're gonna save it to like some ending bit or something. But yeah, if we're gonna do this one, I'd give it like a 7.
Okay. Fair enough. Did you want to give it a numerical score, Marcus?
If I was going to give it a numbered score, I'd probably give it an 8 or an 8.5. I would say definitely check this out. It's worth a rent. Hell, it's worth a buy. You could probably find it for relatively inexpensive now because it's so old. There's some different collector's editions and stuff out there. So give it a watch. It's a great action flick, but it's an action flick with substance. So and it's superbly acted. All the actors did a great job in this movie. So go check it out.
Oh yeah, give it a shot. Overall, I would agree with Marcus. I'd give it about an 8.5. I think it was a really great movie. It worked because it brought the Mummy to a modern audience and maintained the seriousness of the Mummy and the threat that he poses, while at the same time almost opening it for a broader audience that might not be that into horror movies. So you have sort of the horror elements, but with enough comedy and enough action mixed in there that it balances it out so it's not a straight-up horror movie and you can open it to a wider audience. And I think that worked really well.
I wouldn't even consider this a horror movie. It's more of an adventure action movie. Not even so much action, just adventure. Because the horror isn't scary enough to be horror. It's just like, if you find that scary, then that's a horror movie.
Yeah, I have to agree with Stacy on this. It's like I said, that's why I made the comparison throughout the entirety of the review.
It's not a horror movie.
This is basically, it's basically Indiana Jones. That's the level of horror this is, which is to say, not that much. It's an adventure movie. It's a high octane, adventure thriller with some horror elements mixed in.
Let's see the Thing movie.
What's that?
I said it's a Let's See the Thing movie.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a let's see the special effects and let's see.
Go on adventure, see all the things, and see how the people react to the things, and then watch the end of the things.
Yeah, let's see all the base explosions. But the one thing this movie does that a lot of action movies of the time and even now don't do is it gives you well-written characters and great actors, which I have to give kudos to.
I can agree with that. I do think there's some horror elements mixed in, if only from the, scenes like Imhotep ripping out a dude's eyes and tongue to use them, and guys getting consumed by fucking scarab beetles and shit.
That was fun.
But
that was there to amuse me. That's the only reason I was there, because I demanded it to be so.
There you go. But overall, yeah, great film, great acting, really well done. Script could have been a little bit stronger, but
that's
overall, yeah, it deserves an 8.5. They did a good job. They established a franchise. It worked well. Give it a buy if you have a chance. It's cheap enough. You can probably find a collector's. You can probably find a compilation edition that has all three in one shot for $25. Yeah.
Your FYE now, it exists.
Yeah. Go. Well, except by you.
Well, yeah, because it closed, but
Yeah, but yeah, go check it out. You can find it. Great movie. Now we're doing a little short-term sprint along here because of how the month worked out scheduling-wise. So stay tuned this coming Friday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
For one night in Phoenix.
For one night, that's the late night show after that. But first of all, we're going to be reviewing the Mummy 2, which you can check out. We're going to be going through that. That'll be a lot of fun. And the Mummy Returns, I should say, is probably called, if I get the name right.
Yeah, the Mummy Returns.
Thank you. So check out the Mummy Returns review that night. And we will further delve into this franchise and go into the most actiony and most star-studded of the films, and see how that played out and how it would have been what should have been an end to the franchise, not counting the animated series. And then a little later on down the month, on Saturday the 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, you can drop in with us to check out the bastard stepchild of the Mummy franchise, the Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
That's not the bastard child. That's, oh, I fucked my cousin and it has 6 legs and arms and I didn't have the good spirit to kill it while it came out of her.
Okay, then.
There
I
you
thought
go.
that
Like
was the
Game of
Scorpion King.
Thrones. That also, but you know in Game of Thrones where she fucked the demon, or no, she had the demon baby? That's kind of like this, except at least that has the decency to, we don't really see it because it's smoke or whatever. This is if we actually got to see it.
We don't watch Game of Thrones.
Well, you should, because it's awesome, and you go in the library, and if I didn't take it out and rent it, you should rent it.
I don't have time to watch a whole series like that, but anyway.
Oh my god.
Shut up. So, thank you two for joining me.
You're welcome. This was fun.
Indeed. And also, if you just can't quite get enough of our wonderful voices, stay tuned in about, 3.5 hours from now, because at sometime around or shortly after 11 p.m. tonight, later tonight, this Monday night, you can catch myself, Marcus Shadow, and our good friend Chris the Mole will be joining us to take a look at Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
And we may even get a special guest.
Especially.
Yeah, Captain Crazy may join us if he bothers to wake up.
Excellent. We may have the Aeon Rider joining us. Stay tuned for that. That could be fun.
Yeah, because he did express an interest in doing the review.
Indeed. So, yeah, a lot of great stuff going up. Stay tuned for that tonight. XGR on Wednesday, and then on Friday, The Mummy 2, followed by a very busy X-Pound Saturday. Excuse me. If around on Saturday, because a combination review of the Gaming Zone and the Gaming Grotto, Anastasia Lazerbeam, whatever she calls her show now. We'll be taking a look at the new hit game Evolve, potentially with Marcus Shadow. And followed by our Around the Pound look at movies and cartoons, where we will be discussing the animated series of The Mummy, among many other animated series, as part of February. And followed later on that night with an X-Pound special where myself, Marcus, and Chris and Mole will be taking a look at the Monday Night Wars episodes 6 through 10 for the WWE Network. So lots of great content coming out, lots of great stuff. Come check it out. Marcus, Stacy, thank you for joining me for this review.
Also, whenever you're referencing me, you can call me Pew Pew Productions.
Pew Pew Productions, got it.
Triple P, the Queen of Queens.
No, her nose isn't big enough for that.
I don't know. Pinocchio might beg to differ on that.
I'm not Jewish. My nose is not freaking like 6 feet long.
Pretty much.
She's a pew of pews.
Okay, then. Anyway, stay tuned for those awesome reviews. We'll see you later tonight for The Wrath of Khan, with minus Pew. And we'll see you later for some other awesome reviews. I'm James Phoenix. This has been The Lair of the Phoenix. Good night, everybody.
Yay.